So today we're doing something a little bit different again. We try to do some different things, and Gary said, why do we want to make tortilla chips?
Why, and the question still has to be answered. Why do we make them
When you can just go buy a great big bag?
And the answer is you can make them any flavor you want.
You can make them any flavor. You can just do something fun and different. Okay?
Yeah, answer my question.
So we're going to do tortilla chips. And the reason why we actually decided to do this was because we had purchased different kinds of flour tortillas, the spinach, tomato, and then these white shells.
Previous show.
Right. And we don't really like the white shells, so I thought, what can we do with these, the flour? So we're making tortilla chips. Okay. So the recipe actually calls for 8 ounces of tortilla shells, and you can use the small ones, which are probably 6 inches maybe, which you would then cut into 8 triangles.
Right.
And because we have the large ones, we're actually going to cut these into 16.
Right.
Okay. So Gary's going to start cutting the tortilla shells, and I'm just going to put together the spice. I'm combining 1 teaspoon of cumin and 1 teaspoon of chili powder, and then I'm just putting in about half a teaspoon of salt. Okay. And because it says to sprinkle it on, I tried sprinkling like with my fingers, and that was just kind of clumsy and didn't really work so well.
Right.
So I took a salt shaker, and I'm actually pouring this little mixture into a salt shaker, and then all you have to do is just sprinkle it on. While I'm doing this, now Gary has...
In the meantime, I am going to mix up the oil. That's all I need, right?
Yes.
Okay. I am going to mix up some vegetable oil and some lime juice.
So the recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of key lime juice and 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil, which is actually enough for probably 2 or 3 big packages of tortilla shells.
Sure.
So you can just cut that in half.
Yep. So this is easy. You just lay these out. This lime juice gives it a nice little tang. The finished product, that is. You just lightly brush it.
And then when Gary is finished brushing it, then I'm just going to sprinkle on the powdered mixture here.
You want to do those on the pan, correct?
Yes.
So I'm going to put these on the pan. And I like to zigzag them back and forth here so you can fit more on.
So we tried some ranch.
We tried a little ranch
powder, which was okay.
And I tried lemon pepper.
Lemon pepper, and that was a little bit spicier.
Yeah, that's a little more heat.
Yeah, that tasted
you wouldn't
really
think
good
so,
though.
But it is because of the spice that they mix with the lemon pepper mixture.
So then you can really just add then as much of the
double there.
Curry chili powder as you want. Obviously, the more you add, the spicier it's going to be if you like really spicy chips. And after I finish this, we're going to put this in a preheated 350-degree oven, and we're going to bake for the first time for 7 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, heat wave coming out of there.
So you can kind of decide how brown you want them, and these are plenty brown, so we wouldn't want them to be any darker than that.
Right. And you notice you don't have to do any kind of spraying of the pan. They're nice and dry, so they don't stick. And what are you going to do with
so now
those
what we are going to do is we're going to have a little tortilla chips with some homemade salsa.
All right.
And homemade guacamole. And this was one of our auction items that we were the lucky bidders on at Sheltering Hearts. And we have already used this tray so much.
Oh, we've used it 4 or 5 times in the last,
wonderful
just
tray.
in the last month. Yeah.
just for sandwiches and for our wraps that we've been making.
Yeah, it wasn't just chips, because otherwise people are going to think all we do is eat chips and
I
guac.
know. So it's been mostly for some catering purposes. Okay,
Right.
so we've got our homemade salsa, homemade guacamole. And then, as we said, we're just going to keep our chips in tins.
Just simple tins
so
like this.
this was our one set of Italian or lemon pepper.
These are the lemon peppers.
And then this is how well these stayed then. You know, just like so. Even when Gary accidentally dropped the can onto the floor and it went
right before the
crashing.
show, I accidentally bumped it off the table, went crashing down, and so they are a nice sturdy chip.
And then you don't have to worry about not taking these off right away. So I'm just going to take them off and just going to mix in the warm ones.
Excellent.
Okay.
And are we going to eat right off of this? Or are we going to have...
That's probably appropriate,
Is that
don't
appropriate?
you?
Yeah, as long as you don't double dip.
I'm just going to try the guac anyway.
Yeah.
As I think we talked about on our last show when we were doing the two shows ago when we were doing the wraps, my favorite avocado is actually in guacamole.
Yeah, that's the only way you'll eat avocado.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to try. I'm going to try one with the cumin and chili powder.
And I'm going to.
Okay.
Since I came up with the.
Oops.
Get it on there.
Ah, there we go.
There we go. Since I came up with the lemon pepper idea, I'm going to try one of those. Okay.
This is really good. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Cooking with Ruth and Gary. And until next time, happy cooking. And no double dipping.
I know. I watched Seinfeld. There is no double dipping here.